Hi sports fans, it's Mary Satoli with the Follow Your Bliss Foundation. Okay, so we're going to talk about thyroid issues and how benzos affect your thyroid, among other things, but specifically thyroid today, mainly because I know I've talked to quite a few other people that have these huge metabolic fluctuations like I did. I mean, super skinny. While I was at the end of my taper, probably about 100 pounds, and then I just skyrocketed up after that. It was sort of like, ah. So I've been doing a lot of research on conversion issues because that's the problem I have, and I think I may have a theory. We'll see how it works out. This is hot here today. I mean, I keep turning my air down. The laundromat was like a steam oven. My hair is, I'm like a walking barometer when humidity goes up down here, because we don't have that much humidity except in July and August. So we're in the peak of it, heat season. So anyway, my T3 does not convert from T4, so it's a conversion issue. It's not the thyroid itself, it's a metabolic function. And from what I can tell, the research I did, the studies showed that people who were recovering from serious illnesses in the hospital, that sort of thing, typically ran lower T3 levels than people that were healthy. So there is some research behind this to understand that when the body's trying to repair itself, it's a natural function to downregulate T3 because it's trying to conserve its energy for healing. And that sort of made sense to me at first. It makes more sense now that I've done more information on it. But the body has its own regulating system that seems to be infinitely intelligent, more intelligent than we are because we're taking these damn drugs. And we think that we haven't figured out all the answers to it yet, but we're gonna. So anyway, so if you have been having roller coaster issues with weight too thin, it's most likely the thyroid. It impacts all of your hormones, and it's a really tricky thing to regulate, especially post-benzo recovery, because I've been back and forth with tests over the last year, and 1 minute, I think it was like last summer, and I'd been off the benzos for about 6 months at that point, and it appeared that my T3 was coming back up. It was kind of more in the low normal range, but it wasn't like as low as it's been the last couple tests. So I figured I'd be fine without any thyroid medication, which seemed to be for a while, and then all of a sudden my weight just started like climbing up. And so I'm gonna do my Vanna White thing again here today. I know you guys are pretty excited about that. Contain yourselves. I know it's hard, but all right. I got a couple things. Selenium and zinc are really important for thyroid conversion, and this seems to be a pretty good product so far. I feel really good today. I've got up and down things with this pain issue, and that's where I've been running into trouble with taking the thyroid, is that it seems to overstimulate my nervous system, so you have to be really careful. I'm on like a super low dose, and it does help, but it's like yesterday I had to like not take any because the pain was excruciating, and I was having like, just all these electrical voltages, which I'm still getting, and I'm just like, when is this gonna be over? So anyway, this Thyrofem sounds kind of feminist, doesn't it? What about the guys? Well, I don't know, maybe you don't want to take it, but it has tyrosine and zinc, copper, and selenium, and then I think it's got some rhodiola, which is good for your adrenal glands and that sort of thing, because your adrenals are really involved with thyroid conversion as well. If you are stressed and putting out too much cortisol, that's going to interfere with your conversion, which all of us have got adrenal issues to some degree coming off these drugs because your body is so stressed trying to repair itself. And I had no idea how long this process was going to take. I'm still amazed that I'm still having symptoms a year and a half later. My 18-month anniversary is the 21st, so today's what, 13th? Yeah, about a week. And for those of you who are still struggling through tapering and withdrawal, I know my heart goes out to you. It's hell. There just isn't anything, there isn't any words. I think that I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day about this, and you know, these people who've never had to be on these drugs are really not understanding the complexity. I think I spoke last week, my video was about highly sensitive people and how I think many of us who've been put on benzos are HSPs because we're so sensitive to our environment and noise and things that most people aren't bothered by. So we're like this kind of canary in the coal mine was what I called it. And so I think a lot of these people who haven't ever had to take pills for whatever reason don't understand how this can take so long and how we can look totally fine. It's like, now now that my hair's starting to grow back and I'm starting to look human again, it's really hard to believe that I have anything wrong with me. And I don't spend a lot of time sharing that with a lot of people who don't get it, because I feel like there's a judgment of, cowboy up, what's your problem kind of thing. I talked to a couple people that have friends that have easily come off these drugs without a hitch, and they just cannot understand how he is struggling so bad with all these things that he's going through, and he can't work. He goes to some island, Fuji, that's what it is, Fuji. And he's a photographer, so he goes there like once a year and he makes quite a bit of money, and then he doesn't work for quite a while because he just, it's hell for him to try to taper off these meds while he's doing a 16-hour day shooting photos. So a lot of people just don't get it, and I've really toyed with the idea of like putting a manual together of how to support people, highly sensitive people coming off benzodiazepines. It's like we're like a freak of nature or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to understand a lot of my own trauma, and it was interesting because I got some of the more medical records. As you know, I had been collecting medical records for an attorney that was looking at my case, and this was the original Social Security doctor that evaluated me for disability, who was right after my head injury, and her notes are like, I guess to some degree I was so out of it, and I didn't realize how much, the symptoms were just like crazy that I was having, and I didn't realize, I thought it all was from the concussion, which a lot of it was. I was really fried out. I couldn't think. I at some point, I think maybe even a month or two after the fracture and everything was starting to heal, I would try to drive to the grocery store and get there and walk out and not know how I got there where the car was parked. I would just go into a full-on panic attack and not know that I wasn't going crazy. I'm still not sure I haven't. But if you're not guaranteed, if you're not crazy after benzo withdrawal, nothing's going to make you crazy in this life. I guarantee it. So, good B vitamin. Good B vitamin to go along with the this combination of these two. And I caution you people who are in withdrawal about taking B vitamins. B1 and 2 can be overstimulating for a lot of people who are still withdrawing from the drug itself. So I would stick with, I think I have a vitamin video that was about, I had a list of the B vitamins or something, but the B12 and the B6, I've got a liquid that I use in addition to this, because I think the B vitamins are one of the most crucial parts of repairing the nervous system, and I can tell when I go for a period of time without taking them, I just start feeling draggy and tired and, you know, yuck. So those two things I would recommend, but it'll be interesting for those of you. I like for you to share your stories. A lot of you have. I have some Facebook contacts of people that I've chatted with pretty extensively, and it's interesting to see as I look back and I watch other people going through it. I kind of think, wow, you know, I'm so glad I'm through that part, even though I still struggle some days with these remaining things. I'm like, you know, I keep telling myself it's just the last few, you know, one of these days I'm going to wake up and it's all going to be gone, and yay. But not so much so far, but we're getting there. So so anyway, I just kind of look back at these notes that I've got on the whole situation, and even then she mentioned in the notes about thyroid issues. I had been put on thyroid medication, so they will mimic a lot of the problems that you're having in withdrawal. You will have crazy anxiety, which thyroid, if you're on a roller coaster ride with thyroid issues, it can cause all kinds of crazy things. And people, I don't think, are aware. They think, oh, just weight gain and being tired, that sort of thing. But that's not true. It's all kinds of things. Your thyroid regulates your metabolism. It can make you dizzy. You can feel off. The notes were pretty explicit about the symptoms that I was having, and I had never had thyroid problems before the benzos. Not ever. I was in good shape. I didn't take anything. I didn't take aspirin, and I didn't, it never occurred to me that the benzos could cause all these problems. So think about it. I mean, I notice how much more energy I have, and it's like I sometimes can't find enough things to do in the day because I'm so hyper now. And you know, I sleep like 6 hours if I'm lucky. Sometimes I sleep 4 or 5, and I'm up and I'm going all day. You know, and before, even right after the withdrawal, the acute withdrawal, I mean, I would have to plan and micromanage my whole day. I couldn't be spontaneous about anything. I knew that I was only going to get X amount done, and that would be it for the day, and I'd be lucky to get to the grocery store and run a couple errands. But I mean, to be recording a CD and making YouTube videos and writing blogs and all the things that I've been able to do in the last 6 months, it's encouraging. So that's why I do these every week, is because I know that a lot of you watching are in the throes of withdrawal and are struggling to keep your sanity. And I know I have days still where I'm just cursing the fact that I took these things. I'm angry, and I just want to go, well, I wouldn't go kill anybody, but I feel like I want to. I'm just so edgy and just so uncomfortable from the electrical charges that I just don't feel like I can function like this anymore. You just feel like, okay, you know, already I've had enough. When is this going to end? And that's frustrating. It's frustrating for us and all the people around us, because they don't understand, and we don't understand, because nobody's explaining this stuff. Nobody's explaining the damages done from these drugs. And I'm on a mission. And y'all haven't, if you haven't filled out the thing for the FDA, you need to do that. Any of the new people that are watching my videos, I'll try to put another link up today and make sure that you all have access to that, because that's going to give us more ammunition. The more people being affected by these drugs that are reporting it to the FDA, the more inclined they are to get behind a class action suit. That's why it didn't go through. We didn't have enough signatures in 2010, I think it was, and not enough people were reporting this. So I have to be conscious of, I've had a couple comments from people, and I apologize for the noise, but it's hard to shut off my fans in this heat, and I'm fidgety. It's part of my problem with coming. It's why I was a benzo head. I am hyper, naturally very hyper. I've always had a lot of energy. I you know, I used to be singing rock and roll 5 nights a week, which is how I got rid of all my pent up energy. And right now, I'm, you know, still not quite ready to go back and do that yet, but I'm, you know, I'm getting there. So this is to encourage those of you, because I don't want you to give up. I've had some people that I've talked to that I just felt like, God, if I hang up now, they're going to commit suicide. I just know it. And they're just, I wish there were words that I could like mind meld with you to help you see where I'm at right now and how it could help you understand where you're going to be a year and a half after you're off this drug. And I'm really hopeful that, like, within the next 6 months, because the 2-year mark seems to be the biggie for a lot of people in terms of all of their symptoms being gone. And so I'm coming up on it, and I'm excited about the possibilities of how much better, you know, my life can be and already is. And so I want to cover, I'm drawing a blank here, but the thyroid thing is huge. I think it was Don Killian was helping me out over the winter quite a bit with this stuff, and he mentioned how many people he knew that were impacted with thyroid stuff after coming off benzos, both during and after, because my T3 has been low typically for a long time, really, the whole thing. And I remember the first time I took the T3 itself, which is the active form of thyroid, for those of you who don't know about T4, T3, little quick lesson. I think I've gone over this before, but T4 is what your TSH produces to make T3. And so a lot of doctors only know to put you on Synthroid. Those are all T4 medications. They don't help people like me. In fact, they make you worse. Can, and they do for me. I'm just all zazzed out if I take T4. So the T3 is what helps to give you energy, and it helps everything. And I mean, it helps your hair, your nails, you know, you need T3. So the first time my T3 came back really low was after I had had a couple infections, and I mean, I was flat out. I could not walk, I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't function. You know, the withdrawal was just killing me at certain points. And I remember taking the first, like, it was a pretty low dose, like microgram, and it was like taking rocket fuel. I was like out the door, buzzing around after being in bed for almost a month with 2 salmonella infections, right? I'm like back in the pool the next day. I'm like, and Roy, the compounding pharmacist that was helping me with it, he's like, whoa, we got to back off this stuff, you know. So, but I felt like really good. My brain just got lit up. So this is the reason why it's so hard to regulate all this stuff when you're coming off the benzos, because it changes the terrain of your hormone system, your brain, everything. And so it's really, really hard to regulate. And I don't really know that I've got any pat answers, because the PA that I'm working with has insisted that I go back on at least a couple micrograms, because I went off of it and I gained 4 pounds like overnight, and I'm like, holy cow, you know. So this is weird for me, because I've never had any metabolic issues, you know. I've always been thin most of my adult life, and so this is, especially because I'm not eating anything that's particularly fattening, and just so I'm trying to find that balance at this point between how much is too stimulating for my nervous system and how much do I need for regular metabolic function, digestion, and all those important things. So for those of you who are struggling, more than likely you've got thyroid issues on top of it, and the best you can do while you're tapering is to what I did is I went on DHEA, and I think I talked about that in one video. You can get DHEA online. I think I recommended Douglas Labs And I can put a link to Natural Healthy Concepts is where I get mine because they've got a good price and they have free shipping, which is nice. And I take an oral and a cream, about 15 milligrams, and for women, most of that will convert to testosterone, but it converts to all kinds of other hormones. And because my adrenals were so crashed after the whole testosterone issue back in 2010, I have to take it. I mean, I can't function without DHEA. So, and it does, it is an anti-aging hormone, so it keeps your skin healthy, it gives you energy, it just makes you feel good. And I feel good most of the time. It's mostly physical symptoms. Mentally, I feel good, my mood's good, I'm happy, I can do most things again. I'm not debilitated. I can swim for 40 minutes straight. You know, I've got a lot of energy now. I feel really good. It's just these last few things. And today it's really good, but I took a break from the thyroid medication yesterday, and then I have to take it for a few days. And if it gets worse again, then I got to back off. And I guess I just have to keep doing that until the nervous system gets back to normal, and then slowly be able to bump my thyroid medication up to where it's at a healthy level. At least my labs are at a healthy level, so, and where I feel pretty good. So that's really the best you can do if you're working with a doctor on this, which you have to if you're going to get thyroid medication prescribed. I would recommend finding somebody that knows a little bit, well, knows a lot, because there's a lot to know about thyroid problems and they're tricky to regulate. So I would recommend finding someone that has some knowledge about T3 conversion, because chances are the majority of people that go on thyroid have T3 conversion issues. It's not a T4 issue, and so the doctor's not knowing will put you on Synthroid or some T4 medication, and it will make you feel worse. So at the very least, the best you can do is the selenium and the zinc. Minerals shouldn't bother you too much, although you have to pay attention. Just add one thing at a time. And the B vitamins if you can't take thyroid just yet. And like I said, I'm still on that, walking that fine line with it, not really sure how I'm gonna bring my dose up to the point that I need it to be, and still not have symptoms that are intolerable to the point where I can't sleep because I'm so uncomfortable. So I wanted to touch base on that, mainly because I'd been dealing so much with my own thyroid issues, and then, you know, getting those records back from disability was a pretty big eye-opener. I guess I didn't realize what a train wreck I was at that point with my fracture. It was just yeah. And I didn't realize until you start looking back at all this stuff really how much is the benzos doing it. I couldn't imagine, you know, and this is the problem, is there's so many people on these drugs that the doctors prescribe it, we believe they're safe, everybody else believes they're safe, and they're not. And they're scrambling your system. A lot of people like me didn't know it was causing other health issues, and it's costing a small fortune to fix the problem. And it will be, if we can turn it around, we'll be cleaning this mess up for years to come, because they've got little kids on this stuff. And it's a crime, because it's going to screw their metabolism up so bad by the time they're teenagers that I don't even know if they'll be able to reproduce. Honestly, I don't know what that does to the whole reproductive thing. If it affects your hormones, it has to affect, I don't know if there's some people that think maybe it has some effect on your DNA replication. I mean, I would think, as strong as these things are, that they have to have a lot of other implications for them to have side effects for so long after coming off the drugs. But anyway, that's my 2 cents for the day, for whatever it's worth. But you can probably, oh geez, I just realized I looked around and I've got my laundry hanging all over the place from being I forgot to take it, well, it's still wet. I was going to take it down before I shot this thing, but it's too late. Everybody can see my underwear hanging on my mic stand. That's the way it goes. You know, we all have dirty laundry, so that's mine, and it is what it is. But it was so steamy in there that I could not sit in there for another minute. My stuff's drying, and I'm thinking, I can't take this. I'll go home, and I'll just hang it up. So that's what I'm doing. I'm turned the air down, and I'm drying everything out, including my hair and my underwear. So that's it for the day. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope you are healing well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments and contact me if you need help with anything. I got bottles in for the tapers, so if you guys want to purchase them, we have them on our website. Pretty inexpensive, really, but they're great because you have the syringes and the bottles, and it makes tapering super easy. That's how I did mine, as you all know. So anyway, if you have any ideas for more things that you want me to talk about, things that you want me to research, I'll be happy to do it for you. So just give me a shout. And until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.